Privileged and honored to be joined by one of the best pro wrestlers of her generation. Do I really need to introduce this person? Someone who, regardless of company, gender, country, is one of the best anywhere. She's competing for New Japan this weekend in San Jose. Mercedes Mone, welcome to Under the Ring Pro Wrestling Conversations. So happy you're here with me today.
Thank you. When you say Monet, you gotta pick up that money. Hey, we gotta get that money.
I don't know that I can do that as well as you can, but I'll try. I'll try in the future. But let's start off with what you're doing currently. You're headlining New Japan's Battle in the Valley in San Jose on FITE Saturday night against the IWGP Women's Champion Kairi. What does it mean to you to be headlining a show like this for your debut with New Japan Pro Wrestling?
It's incredible. It's an honor. I'm having a hard time processing that it's all real, but it is, because it's tomorrow and I've been waiting for this for months. But I am so excited that my first match back in 9 months is against Kairi, who is absolutely one of the best wrestlers in the whole world. We're going to be headlining tomorrow night at the San Jose Civic Center for Battle in the Valley, and this is a dream come true. I've been preparing for this match for the past couple months, and I'm just ready to go. I'm ready to go do this match. I'm ready to get it over with. I have the same feelings that I had at Wrestle Kingdom, where I'm just like, oh my God, can it just come? Can it just go past already? But I'm ready to enjoy every moment in this magical time in my career. And I'm so ready for tomorrow.
And women's wrestling is something culturally that's pretty new for New Japan. I know you've crossed paths with Kairi before, but never really in anything exactly like this. How much fun of an opportunity is it for you to kind of introduce, the New Japan audience to something a little bit different?
Yeah, this is such a huge honor for me. It made it a really easy decision to go to New Japan to help kickstart this women's division for this company. With New Japan being the biggest professional wrestling company in Japan, it was just an easy decision, being like, this is the place that I wanted to be. I grew up watching New Japan. I grew up watching Pro Wrestling Noah and all these Japanese women's wrestling growing up. So this was such an easy decision. It's a dream come true for me. And I think tomorrow night is just going to create so much magic and so much history for women's wrestling that I just want everyone around the world to be like, this is the company that I want to be in.
You mentioned the feeling being on the stage of Wrestle Kingdom. Obviously, you've been on a lot of big stages and the main events in your career before. What about the culture of Japanese wrestling and, Puroresu, Joshi, whichever, appeals to you personally?
I think it's just the realism that comes from it. It feels like a real legit fight and sport. Like, in the United States, it's really about the entertainment aspect, but in Japan, it's about the athleticism and the sport of wanting to beat your opponent. And to be there at Wrestle Kingdom, I actually got to be at Pro Wrestling Noah for Nakamura and Great Muda's match, and to hear the crowd and just to hear like the different receptions of how their energy is presented to when they watch wrestling. It's so just magnifying, where I'm just like, that's what I want to hear. That's what I want to experience. It's just, it's timeless. And it's just like, they're just so transformed into watching and to feeling it, instead of just being like overall entertained. They're just like, wow. They just treat it with so much respect that I'm just like, I can't wait to perform in April in Tokyo.
Yeah. And even before crowd noise kind of was back at those shows, like it sounds to me like you were watching a lot of the same types of tapes that I was probably watching a while ago too. It would just be that, not only the polite applause and that kind of thing, but then you'd have somebody like a Stan Hansen or a Brody or somebody like that coming out, and you just see you see the terror and the reactions of people, and it's
the ooh, the ah. It's like this one unison sound of like, wow.
That's got to be cool for you as you're kind of learning, performing in front of a new audience to try to see what this will probably be unique. I was at the one at New Japan back in New York in October. I forgot the name of it, unfortunately, but I was there with the Giants at the Palladium in New York City, and it's people are very interested in seeing, like, whenever Suzuki comes out, everybody's standing and singing along. So it's
Yeah.
like it's certainly a different crowd. I think. Do you think it's going to kind of be different than anything you've been in front of before?
For tomorrow night in San Jose, I'm not quite sure due to it being an American crowd and the first time that I'm performing in 9 months, I expect the fans to be really loud. That's what I want. I want to bring the American culture to Japan as well to let them know that they can be loud and cheer and go over the top. But tomorrow night, I'm not quite sure what the reaction is going to be. I don't know if they're just going to be quiet and just like into it and watching and just cheering for good things, or they're just going to be so loud and into it, which I'm hoping and expecting it to be. But I just expect it to be awesome because it's a sold out crowd. It's a sold out Civic Center. And I just think it's going to be one of the best pay-per-views of this year. I mean, the card is so stacked. And as a wrestling fan alone, I'm excited just to sit back and watch as well.
Excellent, excellent. So Stardom is also in the Bushiroad family, and it seems like a really hot promotion with a ton of growth. And it's also a very young audience, is my understanding too. What do you see opportunity wise when you look at a place like Stardom, both for yourself, as somebody who's going to be stepping into it, and also for the rest of the rest of the group there? What do you see there?
Oh my God, I see it as one of the most greatest potential companies in the world right now. I just keep seeing it growing and growing and getting bigger. I've been hearing about Stardom for years, and just knowing that it's an all women's promotion with the greatest women's wrestlers all over the world. Now that you have Mercedes Mone in the game as well, I think just watching it, I've been watching it for the past couple months, just really like fine tuning of like, who do I want to face? Who is the best out there? They have some of the top wrestlers I have ever seen, and I'm just so excited to introduce the American audience to the style of Stardom women. I think just giving them the opportunity to show what they can do to a global scale of audience is just going to open up the doors for women's wrestling all over the world. I think they have the greatest wrestling. So I'm excited to be a part of it and just to expand this broad of an audience to something so different that they've never seen before.
And that's a heck of a compliment coming from you, because you're probably one of the best women's wrestlers that I've ever seen.
Well,
And
I'm
you,
still a student of the game. I'm not done
yeah.
learning. I still want to wrestle the best. I still want to have the greatest matches of all time. And I think with the Stardom women, I can do that. There's so many women that I've been watching that I'm just like, wow, we can create magic. I can create magic with her. I can do something with her. I think for this year, I am the most excited about my wrestling career that I've possibly ever been.
Some Joshi experts that I speak to wanted me to ask you who in Stardom you might have your eyes on as potential opponents or even partners in a specific unit in Stardom. So, is there anybody you can kind of call out a little bit of? You said you've been watching it for quite a bit now.
Mm-hmm. Um, Hopefully I say their names right so the internet doesn't get me, but was it Julian? Is that how you say your name? She's incredible. Um, I How do you pronounce it out there that won't get mad? AMZ, I think she is so awesome. Starlight Kid is just, oh my gosh, so crazy. Tam is amazing. There's just so many that I'm in the company now. So I'm going to be doing all these matchups. So it's just the opportunity of when and who wants to face me next. But I have to get through Kairi first because she is absolutely first on my list.
And they say styles make fights. You're mentioning, you're a student of the game. How much fun do you have learning different styles, different audiences? Is it kind of intimidating when you're sort of picking it up at the start?
Intimidating a little bit just because of the language barrier. I always get a little scared of like, am I gonna get it? Is it right? But wrestling is such a universal language. Just when you're in there, you don't have to say anything. You gotta flow. When I was in Mexico, I just gotta flow with the luchas. When I was in Japan, I just had a flow with them, even though I couldn't understand exactly what they were saying. I love learning every single style that I can possibly be because I want to be the absolute best and in every area when it comes to Japanese wrestling, European, Mexico. I want to be the absolute best. So intimidating a little bit, but like I said, I'm a student of the game. I've been traveling around the world, training with the best trainers and the best wrestlers from all different generations. So I'm ready. I'm excited. And this is for my own growth in the future as well, because, one day I want to have my own wrestling school. So to be able to learn all these different techniques and styles is something that I want to be able to give to my students one day when I get to teach them how to be the greatest of all time as well.
So it sounds like there could be some new wrinkles in your game that people may not have
Out of my
seen before
face,
with
no
all the
wrinkles,
training.
that's for sure.
um, I know you were always the old adage, Eddie Guerrero is my favorite wrestler, does actually apply to you. How familiar are you with some of the stuff that he was able to do in Japan as Black Tiger? Have you
Very
gone
familiar.
back and watched that stuff?
Very, very familiar. And I think that's what made it even a more easier decision to come to Japan. I always think about, like, what would Eddie do? And knowing that he's already done this and it was in Japan and created so much magic as Black Tiger. And when he had his break in 2002 and he went to Ring of Honor and he did matches here and there, and just created this whole new legacy and style for himself, to let people know that he was always the greatest, still the greatest. I'm kind of in that same that same line right now of showing the fans, like, though I'm with a different company, I'm still the greatest of all time, just like Eddie Guerrero.
It's funny, you look online and I see, oh, Mercedes should have done this, Mercedes should have done that. And last I checked, you were in charge of the Mercedes decisions. So, what does your mindset look like toward a future in wrestling and on your other projects right now? Do you have any kind of timeline in your mind, any kind of bucket list you'd like to achieve while you're in this period of your career calling your own shots?
Well, like I said at the press conference at Wrestle Kingdom, I'm on my world tour. I think after tomorrow night, when I successfully beat Kairi and I become the IWGP New Japan Women's Champion, I plan to take that title absolutely everywhere all over the world. So New Japan won't be the only place that I'll be wrestling. I plan to make this global and join any company that has the right bag for Mercedes Mone.
That makes a lot of sense. You're one of very few women to ever main event WrestleMania. What does it mean to you to have emerged nationally and internationally in an era where women deservedly are receiving the spots that so many people have worked so long for?
It's awesome. It's a dream come true. It was my dream since I was 10 to change the perception of what it was to be a woman's wrestler in the WWE, and I felt like I successfully did that. And to see the women continually do that every single week, whether it's on pay-per-view, on TV, doing it this weekend, tomorrow night, it's just been a dream. And to see so many women come up to me and be like, I'm the reason that they want to be wrestlers, or I'm the reason that they're signed to WWE, or I'm the reason that they want to go to Japan, are all dreams come true. So for me, I just have to keep on going to make women's wrestling the greatest of all time, because I never want to stop making people not believe in their dreams. I want them to chase everything that they ever believed in wrestling, and I know that they can achieve anything when it comes to being a woman in professional wrestling.
Yeah, and I think that you're proving to people that the only limit that you really have in the pro wrestling game is the limits of your own imagination. You know,
Absolutely.
for what you're willing to do. I had the privilege of being in attendance at the NXT Takeover Brooklyn
Oh,
when you
no way.
yeah
Wow.
when you and Bailey changed the game.
Hell yeah.
Did you have any concept? Did you have any concept of how that helped change things? And how do you kind of look at that match now? Because I know people that showed that to like their children to get them into wrestling.
I know. I'm so still in shock how received that match is. And still to this day, whether it's just meeting a fan out the street, if it's an autograph signing, if it's a tweet, if it's an Instagram, anything, that match really just transcends time. That's a match that they show if you want to get your fans and your friends into wrestling. That's a match you show if you want to watch show your daughter to get into wrestling. That's just a match that you show to really show what wrestling is. And I'm so beyond honored that I got to have a match like that in my lifetime. And I want to have more of that as well. But it's cool to know that match really changed the game in professional wrestling forever. It created so many dreams. So many dreams have happened because of that match. There's a lot of women in NXT that got signed because of their dream started when they saw that match. There's a lot of women and men that started training because of that match. So it's something that I always take with me. And it's 7 years ago, 8 years ago, and it's
Wow.
still talked about to this day like it happened yesterday.
And I do have a photo in my own collection from McMahon's, which is the bar somewhat near Barclays Center, of my brother and his girlfriend at the time. One of them's doing the Bailey hands, and the other one's got the boss glasses
No
on.
way.
So right
That's
after that match, because everybody was still so hyped after that happening. It was just
wow.
absolutely one of the best matches I've ever seen live. So obviously, congratulations, but I'm sure you've heard that one before too.
Thank you.
But what kind of message do you have for the fans who have supported you for so long, and also, those who are going to be following you to New Japan and Stardom, and maybe they're going to be seeing that for the first time, or for those fans who might be seeing you for the first time in their environment?
All I can say is thank you. Thank you to my fans, first of all, to my crew who have loved me, supported me, who have had my back, had spoken up for me when I don't even need to speak. They're up here. They're like the barbs, they're like the beehives. They're the greatest of all time. So I absolutely love my fans so much, who just follow my career, who support me in absolutely everything that I do. And to all the new fans that are going to be watching myself, I can't wait for you to see the magic that I create with Kairi tomorrow night in San Jose at Battle in the Valley. And for fans who've never seen Stardom, I am so excited for you guys to see the greatest women's wrestling in the game today. Guys are going to fall in love with the women of Stardom, with even the men of New Japan. I think tomorrow night is going to be a show-stealing pay-per-view, where it's going to be a pay-per-view that are going to be talked about for the history of time. I think from just top to bottom, the card is so stacked with the greatest wrestling of all time. And I'm so excited to be starting this women's division in New Japan. So I thank all the fans for supporting it and for selling out that arena for tomorrow. I can't wait for tomorrow. I'm excited.
And a couple guys named Okada and Tanahashi. I've heard they're not too bad,
Not too bad. I like that money maker. I like anybody who likes to make money with the money maker. So Okada and Tanahashi is going to be absolutely incredible.
And you mentioned the entrance at Wrestle Kingdom was just out of this world. Where do you get the inspiration for the unique looks that you come up with, both in and out of the ring, the entrances and that kind of stuff? What's the creative process that goes into what becomes Mercedes Mone? But I'm not going to do it that well. I got to work on it.
It's my dreams. It's my cosmetics galaxy, just daydreaming of what I can see for myself. And sometimes it takes me a long time. Like with my Wrestle Kingdom look, I was like getting anxiety. Like I don't have my hair. It's like 2 weeks before I didn't have my hair. I didn't have an outfit because I still couldn't think about what did I want to show the world? What did I want to show myself? What I wanted to show that was new. And then like dreams would just pop up. Like this hair came into place. I'm like, I really like this fire hair. It reminds me of Eddie Guerrero in his gear. I really wanted like a Japanese look for, representing Tokyo and Japan, and how excited I was to be there. So like things and pieces just came together, and still like same with for tomorrow night. It took me a while to figure out like, what do I want this first look to be after 9 months in my gear. So I'm really excited to show fans what my first look's going to be for New Japan Pro Wrestling. And I think they're going to be so kind of shocked to see what I'm going to be doing tomorrow. So I can't wait for everything. I think everything always just comes out so perfectly when you are Mercedes Mone, because when you got the bag, you can pay for anything.
All right. We're going to move on to something called a 3 count now. It's going to be 3 quick questions and your answers. Okay. First one, do you have a favorite Japanese match of all time? Or favorite Joshi match of all time?
Of all time, there's so many. There's so many that's in my YouTube watch later list and save. But I have to say, anything with Manami Toyota versus Akira. They went so hard at each other. They have the greatest matches of all time.
Yeah, somebody asked me a Manami Toyota question the other day, and I was like, you know what? I haven't really watched her, and I'm almost ashamed as a wrestling fan.
She has to be one of if not number one, because I'm number one.
Right.
Definitely in the top 3 of all time of women's wrestling.
Second question. So you've appeared on the Mandalorian. Other than your own character, do you have a favorite character in the Star Wars universe?
I like Darth Maul.
Hmm.
Me and my brother always have loved Darth Maul. This hire is kind of reminding me of something like his Darth Maul face a little bit.
Oh yeah, yeah. Interesting. And just the last question: if fill in the blank tells me something about wrestling, I will listen. Who is that for you?
If someone tells me something about wrestling,
Who is it in the business where if somebody told you about wrestling, you'd just be like, I'm absolutely listening to that person. Who is somebody or multiple people who come to mind to you, and when if it's advice or anything like that?
it's very rare who I go to for wrestling, but I would have to say, of course, Bailey.
Hmm.
Um, who else? Because you're gonna really have to shock me and be like, oh, you have to go watch that. Um, who else? I think just Bailey, maybe AJ Styles, because I'm such a fan of his. William Regal, because he has to be impressed. Who else? I think that's it. And just myself. If I tell you you have to go watch something, then it's a good match.
But also just in terms of, I guess, about your own work, anybody that it would be a go-to who you would listen to, for feedback, I
Oh, for
guess is really
feedback.
where I was going. Yeah.
Tyson Kidd,
Hmm.
Amazing Red, and who would be another person that would? I think that's it.
I mean, Amazing Red's a fascinating one. You had the opportunity to train with Amazing Red a little bit, I think.
Always, yes. And when it comes to any big matches, I always go to train with him. I actually trained with him this past weekend to
Wow.
get ready for me versus Kairi because he is like such a master of the game, and he is like one of my last mentors that I just, he's a legend. He's a legend that doesn't get the credit that he deserves, and so many people steal from Amazing Red and steal his style without even knowing. He is an underground legend that deserves all the flowers in the world, and he's just amazing, simply amazing.
I couldn't agree with that more. I've been a fan of his for a long time, and it's so fun to see that connection and how it influences other people. You said that you see a code red in so many matches now,
Mm.
and, and it gets called out, and it's always because of him. But Mercedes, thank you so much for taking the time today. Really, really appreciate the interview. All the best with everything you have moving forward with New Japan and Stardom and wherever else this crazy, crazy journey takes you. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You too.
Bye.